What do people spend way too much money on? A home they should not be able to afford. My husband and I make good salaries and live in a smaller home in our neighborhood. I often wonder how my neighbors afford their bigger homes. Their jobs are comparable to ours. Turns out, they're all house poor. Barely making ends meet. Living paycheck to paycheck. Constantly stressed about money. Carrying million-dollar mortgages. All for what? Coffee shop coffee. I used to work at a Starbucks, and the number of people who came in 2 or 3 times per day for a $5 latte was astounding. Some of them were spending close to $100 per week. As a poor and borderline starving college student, I just couldn't understand how they made room in their budgets for that, or if they had budgets at all. Weddings. Interest on debt. Microtransactions, you goddamn whales. Coffee. Make that shit at home or the office, people. Save yourself a fortune. Food. Buying lunch when I shouldn't. Eating out when I could make something. Etc. etc. I buy way too much food. Funerals. Eating out. Starbucks. I have to admit they are marketing geniuses though. They sell everything to make your own Starbucks coffee at home, like beans, instant coffee, K-cups, bottled and canned frappuccinos, but yet many people still line up at Starbucks every day to get their coffee. When did Lego become expensive? All that name brand BS. Drinks at restaurants. My family never had, and I pretty much only drink water and alcohol, so when I see a friend paying $3 for a Coke, I just don't understand it. Interesting that nobody mentions cable TV. Just 5 to 10 years ago that would have easily been one of the top answers. Things on sale. Just read somewhere here that you gotta buy things when you need them and not when they on sale. Phones. I've had the same S5 for like 4 years and it still works. Divorces. Just don't get married and save twice. Cigarettes. I don't remember who said it, but one person's father gave them those advice: if you want to know what not to spend money on, go to a pawn shop. Pawn shops hold people's least important valuable items. They cited things like guitars and skis. Things people get intending to pick up a new hobby or skill and lose interest. College education. Drinking alcohol. Shit's expensive. Model trains. And I say this because of me. $2,000 to $3,000 a year. I don't regret it and I can afford it. But still, I know I should be spending less. Staying alive. ATM fees. My body. It's probably worth like $18. Daycare. Financial fees. There's no need for an overdraft. You should not invest in a managed fund. Etc. Pets. Go to your local humane society and get your new bestest friend for YAAAAIII cheaper than a breeder. Not only are they cheaper, they are socialized, usually at least somewhat trained, and in need of a good home. Breeders are just screwing up animals to the point of deformation to get a perfect pet, but shelter babies are just as fun. Funerals. Yeah, you want to honor the dead person, but most funerals are super fucking expensive, and the company is getting greedy off of a grieving family. In America, prom party, especially the girls' dresses. Kids. clothes I get probably 70% of my stuff on sale and second-hand stores. Gold for Reddit. Privatized healthcare. I'm Canadian and it's shocking to see our southern neighbors go into debt because of an injury or medical condition. Influencer merchandise. I realize the problem with what I asked to have for Christmas. On everything that's Instagrammable. Sneakers. I don't know about the US, but here in Italy it's clothes. Microtransactions. In the USA, medical stuff. A few miles in an ambulance is hundreds of dollars. It's crazy. Shoes. Like I get it if it has function, but a lot of kids nowadays are buying expensive Nikes etc. for no legitimate reason other than peer pressure or bragging rights. I know some shoes can get expensive, e.g. dress shoes, but your average pair shouldn't cost more than $120 when they only last so long. That new smartphone. Bubble tea. Phones, not a boomer, what I mean is my phone is like 2 to 3 generations behind and can do almost exactly the same things current ones can. TBH, to me there is no point getting the latest phone when slightly older one can be 2 to 3 times cheaper and do basically the same things. Cigarettes. Eating out instead of making their own food at home. Weddings. When me and my mom were getting the data to budget my wedding, I was shook to realize most weddings are at least $30,000. People will shell out $10,000 for the venue, $2,000 to $5,000 for the dress, $300 for the cake, and God forbid the prices on flowers, decorations, and a damn wedding planner. I could buy a house for the low-end cost of an average wedding. My parents are spending $5,000 on our wedding, including honeymoon. Diamonds. Weed. Not because I'm against smoking it, but because it shouldn't be so expensive. Rent in major city. Has iPhones been done already? Movie theater drinks, holy shit they are expensive though, like geez. I just buy food at the store, put it in a backpack and take my backpack in, so much cheaper. CSGO skins. Food, water, and any useful things we use every day. Guns and ammo. Cars. Way too many people think they need a brand new car who can barely afford it. Predatory lending and advertisements make the problem worse. Alcohol. At least here in Europe. I have friends spending 200 to 300 euros in one night partying. I spent 30 euros the same night, ordering iced tea instead of bottles of champagne. Drugs. Both legal and illegal. Skincare. Here's a little hint, it's okay to spend your money and anything you want. Healthy and organic foods. Most of it is bullshit and a lot of the times you are better off choosing the usual foods. I live in a mostly agricultural country, so we may have better access to real product. For example, apples and bio-apples are literally the same here. Football cards, those things that 5th to 6th graders buy. Loot boxes. Food that gets thrown in garbage. Funerals. You spend so much cash for a coffin. It's not like anybody is gonna really see it after you're buried. Well, at least I hope not. Avocado toast. According to media, it's apparently been the reason I can't buy a home. The problem is, I keep buying avocados every other month or so with bread in my apartment, and then we're back to square one. Bicycles. I mean, We don't strap ourselves into Formula One cars for our commute to work, and we don't take our physical conditioning as seriously as Peter Sagan, but God help that salesperson if he suggests a bike that lacks aerodynamic tubing, deep section carbon wheels, or is otherwise unable to be picked up with one pinky finger. Source: I'm on my second lightweight carbon aero bike in 3 years and, naturally, looking for its replacement. Close second: watches. Screw those things and their pretty movements. Life. Fortnite dance emotes. Dead bodies. Making themselves seem pretty. Luxuries. There are certain things that you need in life and certain things that you think you need. People spend a lot of money on things they think they need. Clothes, gadgets, food, houses, cars, etc. etc. I watched the documentary Tokyo Idols a couple nights ago. It showed the idol culture in Japan and how it's largely middle-aged men dropping an absurd amount of money to attend scores of concerts and meet and greets of their favorite, usually underage, idol band star. So yeah, idol bands, I guess. Baby clothing. I think it's a little waste to buy North Face shoes for your 4-month-old infant. Booze. I know some people who basically live paycheck to paycheck while single on a higher wage than I do when I have a wife and child to support, and they seem to spend all their money on booze. Ha! Living in California. Source: AM Californian, AM broke. Healthcare. Children. Cars. The key to getting rich is driving a shitty car. Nobody besides businesses should ever take out a loan to buy a vehicle. It's the biggest waste of money, even worse than eating out or getting married. Thing is, nobody cares what kind of car you drive. New cars. Buy them after a few years. Fortnite. I have a friend who literally spends all his money with shit on Fortnite. I'm talking like £3,000 he's spent. I kind of feel sorry for his parents. HEALTHINSURANCE. Not that it's our fault, but goddamn, especially when it not spending money on us. Overdraft fees. Yo dog, you got no money, so here's a $25 fee for each of your last 12 transactions. Because fuck you. Me. Escorts. Fireworks. Clothes. Money. Food. Both groceries and dining out is absurdly expensive for most people. There are plenty of lower budget, healthy options that most people just don't consider. Their lives. Microtransactions. Udemy courses. I can't help myself. The thirst for knowledge can be a real struggle. I don't even know how much I've spent on Magic the Gathering, let alone other people. Rent. Drugs. Honestly, we spend too much money on everything. Fashion. I don't understand fashion, but when a bag or dress as expensive as a car, it's just too ridiculous to me.